Okay, good evening everybody. Welcome to this meeting of South Ribble Borough Council's Cabinet. It's 6 o'clock, just on the dot, so we'll crack on. Few housekeeping rules. We're not expecting a fire alarm, so should the fire alarm go off, the exits are here and here, and we'll muster on the car park. Please put your mobile phone on silent or switch it off if you can bear to do so. Members of the Cabinet are in the room, and we'll start the meeting in a moment. I also see we've got at least one member of the Council joining us on Teams, and we've got several of the members of the Council in the room too who may wish to contribute. Shall we go around the Cabinet making introductions before we start? So I'm Matthew Tomlinson. I'm a councillor for Broadfield Ward in Leyland, and I'm the leader of the council, and we'll go to my left.
Good evening, Rochelle Tappin, Interim Monitoring Officer.
Good evening, Aniela Belinsky-Gelder. I'm the Deputy Leader of South Ribble and I'm the Cabinet Member for Communities and Customer. I'm also the Ward Councillor for Leyland Central.
Good evening, Sarah Bullock, Deputy Chief Executive.
Evening everyone, Councillor Wesley Roberts, Buckshire and Worden and Cabinet Member for Finance and Assets.
Neil Holton, Director of Finance.
Councillor Claire Hunter, elected member for Bamber Bridge East and Cabinet Member for Leisure, Health and Wellbeing.
Hello, hi, I'm Jennifer Mullin. I'm Director of Communities and Leisure.
Good evening, Kath Unsworth, Councillor for Broadfield Ward and Cabinet Member for Environment and Street Scene.
Asim Khan, Director for Customer and Digital Services.
Good evening, Caroline Wolfenden, Director of Change and Delivery.
Good evening, Councillor Matthew Farnworth, Cabinet Member for Parks, Events and Culture and Councillor for Seven Stars Ward.
Evening, Gail Wootton. I'm the Director of Planning and Property.
Good evening, Councillor Colin Sharples, representing the Earnshaw Bridge Ward and Cabinet Member for Planning, Licensing and Housing.
Good evening, Coral Asprey, Democratic Member Services Officer.
And hello, I'm Chris Sinnott, I'm the Chief Executive.
Thank you everybody. So that's introductions done. We'll move on to the agenda. Apologies for absence. Members won't be surprised to hear that Councillor Jackie Alty is not with us and sends her apologies. There's a part of me that's surprised Jackie's not dialing in, but as people know, Jackie won't be with us for a while, and I know we'll send her all our best. You'll probably be watching this on YouTube at some time in the very near future, but we send Jackie all our best and hope to see her back in the council chamber as soon as possible. Declarations of interest. I have to remind everyone, if anyone has a pecuniary interest, they are requested to leave the meeting completely during that item, and the member can then rejoin the meeting following completion of the item in question. Does anyone have any interest to declare? Nope. Okay, so we'll move on to the minutes of the last meeting. That's today. The last meeting, the 13th of November. And there was two, weren't there?
8th of October.
And the 8th of October. Anybody want to raise anything? No. Everybody happy that those are then a correct record of what happened on both nights? So I'll propose those.
Seconded.
All those in favour? And I'll sign those off before we leave the meeting. Now, before we go any further, I want to bring in Councillor Matthew Farnworth, who has some exciting news to share.
Thank you, Councillor Tomlinson. So we got some really good news last week to state that our very own Worden Park has been named in the top 10 green flag parks in the UK. So I think it's a fantastic achievement that we really need to celebrate. The fact that we've won this award and have a further 4 green flag parks in the borough shows that this administration's achievements and commitment for clean and green neighbourhoods. And I just want to place on record a huge thanks to all our parks team, which is headed by Neil, along with all those in street scene, as well as our event staff, who all continued the high standards set at Worden. So I also need to mention the amazing volunteer groups that we've got, so such as the Friends of Worden Park and the Leyland Society of Model Engineers, who've helped us along the way. So I'm sure the whole Cabinet will echo my thanks on this significant achievement, which is very, very welcome.
Yeah, thank you. We all knew it was one of the best 10 parks in the country anyway, but it's always nice when someone else tells us. And the more perceptive of you will notice that both Matthew and I are wearing our green flag park badges this evening. So they're available to everybody if you're important. But no, I absolutely echo those comments. We all know that our parks people do a terrific job on all of our parks, and it's whilst we all recognise how great we think they are, it's lovely when someone from outside comes along and agrees with us. So Matthew, if you'll pass the Cabinet's congratulations on to the team, I'm sure we'd appreciate it. Okay, so we'll move on to the Cabinet's forward plan. This is a live document accessible via the web link on the agenda. Democratic Services can always provide access to the plan should anyone need it. Are there any comments? Anybody want to bring anything up on the forward plan? No? Okay, so that's just for noting, so we'll move on. Quarter 2 monitoring report. I will present this. So I think this is a really pleasing report. Lots of greens in the RAG ratings that I'm sure people will be appreciative of. I did present this to scrutiny on Monday evening, and thanks to Councillor Pillinger for chairing that meeting in his usual way, which is a positive, sorry, just to be clear, his usual way is a positive, so thank you to Councillor Pillinger. And there was probably about an hour of questions and answers, which is highly appropriate, but it really some really good stuff in there. 2 of the items are not green, amber or red, they are blue, which means we've completed them, which is always pleasing to see. And of the red rated items, we had quite a discussion about how we get better at talking to our residents to find out how well they think we are doing, because the numbers are quite low in those resident surveys and we do need to beef those numbers up. And we did have a quite a lengthy conversation of how we best look after our staff who were off sick to make sure that they can come back as quickly as possible when they're ready to do so. So again, I thank the Scrutiny Committee for that. I present the report to Cabinet. Would anybody else like to comment on anything on the report? No? Okay, and again, that's just for review, so there is no need to vote. So we'll move on to the next item, and this begins the section of the agenda that's dedicated to Councillor Wesley Roberts. Councillor.
Thanks, Leader, as my iPad freezes and I can't move across. But is it the revenue report? Thank you very much. So I was happy to be in front of scrutiny the other evening, and I did talk about the capital project, which I will do in a second, but first I was the revenue report, which showed that the in-year position was moving as anticipated. The overspend has come down slightly as we predicted. Colleagues around the Cabinet table will want to note that this has created a budget for the closed graveyard work programme, where that's twofold really. So that's because the work has kind of come to a completion in terms of knowing how much it's going to cost us. So that's why we're creating a budget, and also Governance Committee have recommended that we do one as well, and we always welcome Governance Committee's input. Colleagues will see that General Reserve sit at over £5 million and the level we expect is 4 million, so that's healthy to see. And scrutiny gave us a lot of attention, as we would expect, on Word and Hall to make sure we're moving in the right direction in terms of sustainability. So whilst the kind of picture of local government finance remains a bit of a mystery until we see the settlement in December, we're in a decent position in year. So I'd ask colleagues to approve that, please.
Okay, would anybody like to ask Councillor Roberts any questions or make any comments? Councillor Farnworth.
Thanks, Councillor Tomlinson. As Councillor Roberts indicated, in terms of the scrutiny meeting the other night, it was sort of, Worden Hall was obviously mentioned as an overspend, but I just wanted to say, obviously, you know, as a cabinet member for sort of culture and Worden Hall, that our officers are doing absolutely everything possible. We've got a really good number of officers and staff that we brought in that, you know, are sort of specialising in wedding functions and stuff like that. So we've got, you know, probably for the first time, a real good plan that I'm quite confident that we can try and deliver. And I just want to put on record that, you know, if any sort of councillors have got any issues or they want to come and visit Worden Hall and speak with the staff and see what we're actually doing and what we're trying to do, then I'd very much welcome that.
Okay, good. Anybody else got anything on the revenue budget? No? Okay, well done, Wes. Numbers gets everybody, doesn't it? So on that vein, we'll move on to the capital.
Sorry, Leader, I should have probably formally
I missed that last time,
proposed
didn't I?
the item for
Off
approval.
you go then.
So if someone could second it.
So Councillor Roberts has proposed that is accepted, and I'll second it. Can I see all those in favour, Cabinet only? And that is unanimous. Thank you. On to agenda item 8, Councillor Roberts.
Thank you. My iPad is working now. So basically this report highlights the change in the capital programme. Best go into page 71 if people want to see. So the budget variation has come down by about £4 million, which you outlined at full council, mainly due to the town deal reduction in costs on that scheme, which is great news. And then the bottom table is around the reprofiling projects, generally down to kind of the time it's going to take to procure some of them things, or due to the weather. So that's outlined there. And that is all, other than to note the business rates and council tax collection rates continue to increase from this time last year, which is really good news. So thank you to the officers for putting the report together. And I think I need to propose approval for Cabinet on that. So I shall do that. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you. So noted. Anybody, any questions or comments they want to ask on that report? No? So that's been formally proposed. I'll second. Can I see all those in favour? Thank you. That's unanimous. And it's still Councillor Roberts, commercial strategy.
Thank you, Leader. Yeah, so this is a commercial strategy that the officers have put together. It was part of the corporate plan. It's a really good piece of work, and I'd just like to thank everyone who's been involved in it. It actually brings together a lot of the work that's already been going on in the organisation, and I think actually kind of puts us in a really positive light, and it's kind of a big pat on the back because a lot of this thing is already going on, but there is also some stretching things in there as well around asset management and things like that. So it does focus on the 4 key areas around maximising the use of our assets to support the community, optimising income generation, enhancing procurement practices, and supporting a commercial and enterprising organisational culture. And the one line I'd like to just kind of read out, because I think it really shows how we're going to deliver, you know, have a commercial kind of strategy that's delivered but in a sustainable way, but also in a compassionate way. And this line kind of brings it to light, which is commercial activity is not driven by profit, but by providing the best possible services and delivering best value for our residents. So it is going to be monitored through the action plan at the back, and we're also going to have a commercial dashboard that comes alongside that to show how we're doing, and also try and aim for them targets as well. So with that, I would propose that we approve this, and thank everyone involved again.
Okay, thank you. I agree. It's a good report. It's a bit of a cliche, isn't it, that we're not a business, but we ought to be business-like. but just because it's a cliche doesn't mean it's wrong. I enjoyed reading the report. And one thing that probably you didn't mention about enhancing our procurement practices, which I think is really important, especially as we're building in things like social value and all those things that we've done to change this council since we took control. But a fine report, and I'm happy to second it. Any comments from members of the Cabinet? No, no one else is indicating either. All those in favour? Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we move to that somewhat regrettable time. We never like doing this, but we are going to move on to talk about some contracts which fall under paragraph 3 of part 1 of section 12A of the Local Government Act 1972, which means we're not allowed to talk about this in public. And I have to propose a vote that we move into private session. So I'll propose that.
Seconded.
All those in favour? So thank you to everybody who has been watching us on YouTube.